Greetings ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mangs and I welcome you guys to yet another Fire Emblem character spotlights. This one has been on my to-do list for quite a while and honestly I just could not wait any longer. While we will get around to covering the rest of the Hoshiden Royals eventually, we will for now go all the way back to Binding Blade and take a look at the daughter of the hottest woman in the franchise, Clarine. Clarine is the daughter of the Count and Countess of Reglay, Pent and Louise, and the sister of Clarine. She hails from Etruria and grew up in the Reglay mansion surrounded by servants. She would spend most of her days dilly-dallying around the house, dressing up and acting like a lady, spending time with the other noble girls and attending dinners and parties. When Clarine was still a child, her older brother Clarine would join the Etrurian military and would quickly rise to the rank of Archer General. Clarine would then become the leader of an Etrurian mercenary group that was later stationed on the Western Isles, overlooking the mining facilities governed by Etruria, and this probably made Clarine feel very lonely in her mansion. Thus, she later decided to run away from home in an attempt to find him. Clarine picked an awfully bad timing to leave home, however, as a war between Bern and Lycia was just about to break out. On her quest to find Clarine, she ran into the Marquis Eric of Laus, who had plans to betray Lycia and join Bern. When he saw the naive, beautiful Etrurian noble girl, he decided she would make the perfect tribute to one of Bern's dragon lords, Narcian. Clarine, being foolishly naive, told Eric that she was looking for Clarine, and Eric fooled her into thinking he was going to take her to him, only to lead Clarine to his castle, and straight into a locked cell. There, Narcian had plans to have fun with her, which pretty much means he was planning on raping her, but was luckily delayed when the Lycian army under General Roy came fast approaching. When the battle between the Lycian army and Eric's forces broke out, Rutger, a young swordfighter from Sakai, who worked as a mercenary under Eric, had seen Clarine being led into the castle. He overheard what Narcian was planning to do, and since he had no love for Bern, he decided to free her from captivity and release her outside. Clarine, on the other hand, was outraged by the fact that Rutger would leave her alone on the battlefield without an escort, so she decided to head towards Roy's army and seemingly place herself in his protection. She would later convince Rutger to switch sides and join his army as well. From that day, Clarine would accompany Roy's liberation army, using his soldiers as her own personal bodyguards while she attempted to locate her brother. This turned out to be a smart move, as Roy's army would later travel to the Western Isles, where she would be reunited with her beloved Clarine. Together, they would help Roy in defeating Bern, before returning to Pent and Louise in Etruria. Clarine is a sweet, charming young lady somewhere around her early to mid-teens. She has purple eyes and blonde hair that she puts partly into a ponytail on her back. She dresses in a pink tunic with a short miniskirt and high boots that goes up to her thighs. She displays a cute and innocent smile in her official art, contrasting her otherwise arrogant and pompous nature. In steep contrast to her elegant mother Louise, who displays grace, warmth, kindness and empathy, Clarine is spoiled, arrogant, selfish and rude. This makes many wonder if she takes more after her father than her mother, as Pent may have been a rude rascal in his younger days, for all we know. Clarine sadly displays all the vices of being raised by high nobility, as her self-centered attitude reflects a life of being surrounded by servants attending to her every whim. Yet, despite her egotistical behavior, Clarine is not cruel by any means, she just doesn't seem to know better. While Clarine is commonly known to look down on others, she also displays some kindness, such as in her support with Dorothy, where she goes to great lengths to try and turning her into a proper lady, though she quickly finds out that this is not as easy as she had thought, as Dorothy is a rather hopeless example, but that doesn't stop her from trying. Through Clarine's support conversation with Clarine, we see her greatly questioning herself, expressing great unhappiness with her lifestyle back in Etruria, where she was, according to herself, nothing more than a doll. This probably gives us some insight in why Clarine decided to run away from home, and shows us that there is more to her than just the spoiled, arrogant brats. Similar to other blonde-haired healers in the series, Clarine seems to display a rather unhealthy, idolizing obsession with her brother, almost bordering on incest implications as she constantly points out how handsome he is, and she also has the weird habit of comparing him to every guy she meets. Klein rejects this behavior and points out that it is extremely immature of Clarine to do so, something that seems to bother her greatly. Clarine first shows up in Chapter 4, where she will appear as a green unit coming out of Eric's castle on the 4th turn. She is an allied unit, meaning none of the enemies will attack her, so you don't need to worry about rescuing her. However, she will rapidly make her way towards Roy and attempt to recruit herself, and once she does, she will become attackable, so once you move Roy into her range, be careful of what enemies might be in range to attack her. Clarine is the second healer you get after Ellen and is considered by many to be the superior choice, since she is a Troubadour, having much greater mobility. This allows her to reach wounded units more easily and stay out of the range of the more dangerous enemies. Since you most likely will need the help of 2 healers anyway, particularly on hard mode, there is very little reason not to use her. Stat-wise, Clarine has 2 main selling points, speed and luck. This effectively makes her one of the most evasive characters in the game, and despite being more frail than tinfoil paper, with a 40% hit points and 10% defense growth, she will quickly reach a point where even the most accurate enemies will have difficulties even hitting her. For this reason alone, a well-trained Clarine can easily be a dodge tank on the front lines, which can be quite useful if you hate constantly having to watch over your healers. Clarine does, on the other hand, have a pitifully low base magic of 2, and her magic growth of 30% means she can easily get screwed over. This will make her job of topping off high hit point units somewhat difficult, and you might need to rely on a mend or even a recover staff for her to be able to do her healing job properly. Clarine has the Thunder Affinity, which is mostly defensive in nature in that it provides defense, evasion, crit, and crit avoid. She has multiple supports with other units who are considered very good, such as Dick, Lance, and Klein, but most importantly, a very fast support with Rutger, where many of her Thunder Affinity bonuses benefits him extremely well, adding to his already high avoidance and making him land a lot of extra critical hits. This makes Rutger and Clarine a very good tag team, which can be a great boon in the early chapters of hard mode, particularly the dreaded Chapter 7, which is considered to be the hardest chapter in the game. Clarine promotes to a Valkyrie, which grants her access to anime magic and some very decent promotional bonuses. Since Binding Blade is extremely stingy with its guiding rings, however, granting you the first one in Chapter 8 and the second one as late as Chapter 14, you might find it a little difficult to promote her early, as there are a lot of units who also want those guiding rings. When you do decide to promote her, however, she will become a very solid unit. Despite her low magic, which is somewhat remedied by her +3 promotional bonus, enemies in Binding Blade have very low resistance on average, and while Clarine will be stuck with a regular Fire Tome for quite a while after promoting, you might find that she will still be able to do decent damage with it, particularly as her high speed will allow her to double most units she goes up against. Raising weapon experience takes quite a long time in Binding Blade, but if you somehow manage to get Clarine's anima rank up to S, she could be a potential 4-blaze user in the endgame, as tomes in Binding Blade have an extremely low weights, allowing Clarine to use 4-blaze without any speed penalty. At the end of the day, I find Clarine to be a staple unit that I end up using in almost every single playthrough I do, simply because she's a mounted healer that joins early and later on becomes a very viable anima user and dodge tank. She has many viable supports and is one of my favorite characters in Binding Blade overall, not to mention she is the daughter of the hottest blonde in Alib. Take good care of this cute little healer and she will hopefully not scream at you too much, you filthy peasants. Thank you for watching this character spotlight. If you enjoyed it, please consider supporting the video with a like and a comment. It really helps out the channel a lot. If you want to be notified whenever I release new videos, you can subscribe to my channel. And if there is a character you'd like me to cover in a future episode, please let me know about it in the comment section below. Just be sure to check out my playlist, as I may have already covered your favorite character. Below you can also see some of the previous spotlights I've done by clicking on them. Most of the art and wallpapers you see used during this spotlight is made by my amazing designer Mina Tangerina. You can visit her page by clicking the link in the video description below. She also has a new stream now where she draws stuff, so be sure to check out that as well. Also check out the channels of my two script readers, Nasiro and Max HP, as they help me out with the script of the spotlights. At any rate, my name has been Mangs, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.